Hello, I'm Graham Jones and welcome to channel KT4, broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube. You can join in by sending in questions during the show. Just press the comments button on the screen. Don't forget to click the like or share button. If you're watching on YouTube, please click to subscribe to channel KT4. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Commander Senior Grade Arnstein Lund, Commander and Principal Director of Music, Military Bands of the Norwegian Armed Forces, who joins me all the way from Oslo in Norway. Great to have you on the show, Arnstein.
Thank you very much, Graham. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, it's definitely my pleasure. It's been so long since I've seen you, and of course, none of us have been anywhere, at least for the last 6 months. And I was sad, of course, because the Oslo to 2 was cancelled. Look, Arnstein, Norway has a great tradition of military music. Can you tell us just a little bit about its history and its tradition? And as you're talking, I've got a couple of slides that I'll put up.
Well, the traditions of the military bands in Norway goes back to the 16th century, but it really went on to 200 years ago in 1818 with the brigade bands being put up, and from then there have been at the most 8-9 professional bands, but since the Second World War it has been 7, and they are placed all around Norway, from way up north beyond the polar circle and to the main cities. It's Trondheim, Bergen, Oslo, and in Horten in the south. So it's the bands are very.
Disappeared for a moment, but hopefully we'll get him back. And here he is. Welcome back, Arnstein.
Okay, you lost me. I'm sorry. So the history, nowadays there are 5 professional bands, and they are situated in Harstad up in the north, and Trondheim, Bergen, Oslo, and Horten. And it's relatively small bands, 30 people, and the biggest one, the staff band, is at the moment 38. So, but we are still playing a lot, and we have a lot of missions, of course, for the defense forces, but also for the civilian.
I've got an interesting slide here for you to have a look at, and this is well, there we go. The Norwegian Navy Band, and I just thought these were interesting old pictures for you to have a look at. I don't know whether you've seen these pictures or not.
Yeah, actually we have 2 Navy bands these days. So to the left it's the old Navy band, the Royal Norwegian Navy Band, and this is the Commander Hegnander. This is way back, and the one on the right is on the submarine in Bergen, and this is the Naval Forces Band, it's called these days. This used to be one of the army bands, but it was transferred to a Navy band in 2009 or something. Yeah.
Okay. So where's the Navy band now? Where's it stationed?
One is near Oslo in the old town of Horten, who is the old main naval base. It used to be that was from 1850 until I think 1960, but it's still there. And the other one is in Bergen on the west coast.
Ah, I remember that. Now that's it looks like an old fort, isn't it? And there were 2 buildings that were used for something. It looked like they could have possibly been stables or something. And I remember you've turned them into wonderful rehearsal room and practice facilities, and you've also got your own little concert hall in there as well.
Yeah, that's at the castle in Oslo for the staff band. Now that's 2 old cavalry barracks and stables that has been rebuilt, and the concert hall has up to 200 people, but it's very nice.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. How the architects rebuilt it from what it used to be to what it is now, and the acoustics, if I remember, were quite good there.
Yeah, it's actually quite good. It has some limits, not too many people, but it's perfect for a band of about 40. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I remember traveling to Norway to attend various brass band and wind band competitions, and having the privilege of being an adjudicator at Stavanger, listening to many fine Norwegian bands. But I noticed, and just a point of interest here, I noticed that military musicians perform within these civilian bands. And the reason I know that is because they actually wear uniform. I take it that is a military policy.
Yeah, that's the policy. We're trying to build that up for many years, and of course the band, the civilian band union, and we are cooperating a deal. And lots of my musicians are, of course, either playing in some of the very best bands or even conducting them, and we use uniform as often as we can, just to make a point of it that we are some of the best.
No, I think it's a really good idea.
That's good.
Yeah, I really do think it's good, because it makes the military, particularly musicians, it makes them very visible on the stage where they're performing either as conductors or as performers. It's a great advert. I think it could also be a very good recruiting tool as well.
Yeah, it is. And we also have a very special orchestra in Norway above the polar circle, and it's two small chamber orchestras put together, and with the army band, and they play as a symphony orchestra, and my musicians always wear their uniform, so that's a very special orchestra. So it's called the Arctic Symphony. You will find them on YouTube, for instance.
Yeah, I'll look those up. Thanks for that, Arnstein. Another event I've had the privilege to be involved in, of course, is the Norwegian military tattoo. I always called it the Oslo tattoo, which was always at the top of my list to take part in. I've got a clip here of the Coldstream Guards performing a Beatles melody at the tattoo. Now, I hope you don't mind. Do you mind if I just show a little clip of it?
Oh, yeah, please do that, Graham. It was a great honor and a pleasure for us to host you way back. It must be 8 or 10 years ago, but you did a great job.
Do you know something? Well, thank you, Arnstein. But can I tell you, this is really scary. It's more like 15 years ago now.
Oh yeah, time flies.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, here we go. Here's the clip.
The regimental band of the Coldstream Guard, under ledelse av Senior Director of Music, Household Division, Lieutenant Colonel Graham O'Jones.
Well, there we go. That was me with the Kolshian Guards band in Oslo some 14 or 15 years ago. At this moment in time, we seem to have lost Arnstein. I don't know whether it was because the Kolshian Guards band was on, but we seem to have had a little bit of a technical issue there. But the tattoo kind of runs every 2 years, and Arnstein was the musical director who was actually responsible for that. And here's a little picture of Arnstein conducting, which is his main love, is that of being the conductor of the Norwegian Defence Force. I'm going to put you a little clip on whilst we see if we can find Arnstein somewhere around the internet. And this is a short clip, and it's of the piece is called "Of Knights and Castles." I think you'll enjoy this. I think it was absolutely superb performance there. And I think that was the Navy band, if I'm not mistaken about that. We still haven't got Arnstein back in the studio at this moment in time, but we'll continue without him anyway. And what I was going to talk to Arnstein about next was actually coming up next Friday, believe it or not, is his sort of handing over ceremony. And Arnstein will be handing over after spending nearly 40 years. And he started out at the Norwegian State Academy of Music. Now, Arnstein, as you're back with us, could you tell us something about your incredible career within the Norwegian Ministry of Defence?
Well, it's a very long journey, Graham, and it actually started out when I was very, very young and met up with my old boss, Colonel Christ Johansen, in the National Youth Band. Wow. And from there on, it went into military music, playing as a very young musician with the staff band in Oslo, and then going into as a conscript in the King's Guards band in 1980. And then I went to the academy for 5 or 6 years, and then I started out in 1987 in the Old Navy band in Horten. And with the Royal Navy Band, I was the principal clarinet player for many, many years. And then I took officer school, went into as a second in command in 1997. And then I took over the command in 1999. And then I had a few years as the commander of the Navy Band, and in 2004 I was commissioned as the principal director of music for the bands. And that was, of course, this position has taken me all around the world, meeting a lot of dedicated musicians, very good colleagues, and I've been into the very fortunate being associated with colleagues all around the world, and with the European leaders of military bands. We have an association, and we have an annual meeting, and that is a very, very fruitful. And I've been very happy and very honored to be the doyen for the last 5 years, and until my retirement. So lots of things have been happening, lots of tattoos around the world. I've been the leader of the Norwegian military tattoo for the last 6 years, and lots of highlights, both concerts and tattoos, of course, and also traveling with the King's Guard, who is a very, very fine conscript band with a drill platoon. And I went to Australia, to New Zealand, US, and Russia. So it has been a career that have given me lots of very nice concerts and so on. And it has been lots of hard work, of course. The military bands are always having pressure, both on the budget, but also on how many we should be, how many bands should it be in Norway, and so on. So I had to fight a lot, but altogether it has been a fantastic journey, and I'm so pleased that I can hand over the bands of today with a very high standard, lots of talented musicians and fine colleagues. So no one is irreplaceable. So well, the time is come to just take farewell, and of course I will be somewhere around the military bands anyway. Lots of friends still working there, so I stick around.
Yeah, I mean, it really is going to be a huge change for you after such a glittering career. Now, I'm going to ask you this question, Arnstein. If you have to, what would you say is the moment in your military career? What was the event, the occasion? What is that moment that sticks in your mind more than anything else?
Well, it's so many things, and I've been to so many very fine events around the world, and lots of big concerts with both my own bands, but also with the bands around the world. But we had a great anniversary 2 years ago, and went on national TV from the Royal Opera House in Oslo. And it was a TV production for 1.5 hours with all the bands on the stage. So that, I mean, in my mind, that was maybe the peak of it all. Being very happy to present the standard and the quality of the Norwegian mill bands to the whole country in many ways. So I reckon that's the peak for many ways. But we have so many fine concerts and fine happenings going on. So, but that was really big. And we also had a book coming out, the history of the military bands, and we also had an exposition on the National Instrument Museum and so on. So that year was the peak of it all, I think. So 2018 was a great year for us.
Yeah, I think, well, as we know from our conversations that we've had, whichever country, particularly in Europe or actually in the world, wherever you are playing military music, there's lots of things that are very similar. Mm. And for me, the highlight of my career when I was, the senior director of music of the Household Division was the pinnacle of my career, which I was really honoured and privileged to have become. But to take part in the major national state events like the Festival of Remembrance at the Royal Albert Hall, having a complete orchestra and performing to some of the UK and international stars in front of the royal family on live television was great fun, as was the cenotaph parades and also Trooping the Colour, the Queen's Birthday Parade. So those events, and I know that you have done quite a lot of work with the King of Norway and all those sort of events too. Now, I've got a little slide here that I want you to have a look at. I know you've not seen this, so and this is just a couple of bits from your career that I managed to source. Now, I want you. Well, we obviously know that's a very dapper Arnstein on the left. Now, yeah. Now here in civilian clothes, you're obviously conducting. Tell me something about it.
Oh well, I'm doing some conducting with different civilian bands in Norway, and of course having courses. So that's been going on all through my career. So and it's a pleasure to you meet people, and then you can transfer some of the knowledge you have, and of course the joy of music to amateur bands and to people, and that's for me that's a great privilege.
Yeah, and the picture on the top right, Arnstein.
That is perhaps that's with the staff band, and I think we are hosting a concert on the old Royal Castle, Akershus in Oslo, on the outdoor scene. So I can't remember it, but obviously I'm on stage.
I think sometimes there's so many events, Arnstein, that they kind of like blur sometimes a little bit, don't they? Now, whenever I talk to fellow musicians around the world, the subject of COVID-19 always comes up. And there's one thing I want to tell you, because it's on Facebook, and there's a British French horn player, and we talk here in the UK about the science. We have to be led by the science. And there's been a big issue about trumpets and wind instruments, and how dangerous with COVID-19 playing an instrument can be. And this guy, this French horn player, he does a little display, and he says, well, look, the science is wrong. And he gets a little straw with a ping pong ball, little plastic ball, and he blows, and the ball goes across the table. And he said, what people are missing here is that when you blow and create the vibration that creates sound, what comes out of the trumpet is not air, it's the sound.
Yeah.
Right? So, so it's the sound. And to prove this, he picks up a trumpet and puts the trumpet right next to and in front of the ping pong ball and blows a fortissimo note. And the ping pong ball doesn't move a centimeter. Yeah. And so the science, or what people are saying is the science, is completely wrong. Now, having said all that, I'm sure you've found ways to manage to work around COVID-19 with your bands in Norway. And it must have been a very difficult, and it is a very difficult thing. But tell me a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, when it was all locked down, it was we were going to have a big concert, the Ministry of Defense concert, on the 6th of March, and at the same day, that was even before whole Norway locked down. And then the armed forces said we have to be very, very careful. We're going to have 1,200 people in the audience, the Minister of Defense, and a lot of people will be there. So we were forced to cancel it. And from then, of course, the musicians went home more or less. And after a week, we said, I talked to my band leaders and said, we have to find ways to do things. So we started out, it was allowed to, we did limits to play together up to 5 people. And we started out with wind quintets, brass quintets, different small groups, chamber music. And we started out having every Friday a concert. And also we had a series going on with old signals of the military and so on. So we did different things, and but the Friday concert went on until the last week of July, actually, and sort of it was a boost in many ways, because you have to be creative, you have to think of new things, we have to start out again how to produce this, and this was a new field for us. We hired in some professionals to do the filming and recordings, and it has been actually quite positive, but it does not uh, it can never be a substitute for playing live for an audience, but it made people work. It made them people happy, and my musicians, they are very happy for it. And when in Norway, who's a small country, we had from the 1st of April until now, we had more than 1 million people attending the Friday concerts and the different spots we're on Facebook and so on. So it's been a way of coming around the problem, but we still don't play concerts for real, but for small audiences, and we'll see what the future brings. But we have to be careful, and the restrictions within our forces are very tough. But I think we came around it. But the main thing is that we have to close down the tattoo, all the concerts, everything, and that's big money. The Norwegian military tattoo is the only funding is the armed forces. It's the chief of defense who funds it, and it's like a budget of 1.5 million euros.
Wow.
So and half of it is income from tickets. So we had to refund it and cancel everything. So we had a hard time, but it's okay. The armed forces do have money, so it's okay. We are still coping, and we go on, and there will be a tattoo we are planning for it for 2022. So hopefully we are rid of the COVID-19 and thing goes back to normal.
Yeah, I think it must be pretty sad for you that particularly as this would have been your last tattoo in 2020, and you never had the opportunity to perform on that stage for the final time. That must have been very sad for you. But yeah. The other thing I would say, though, Arnstein, is that this sort of technology, and generally I think that the internet, social media, has sort of come of age in a good way. Particularly, as you're saying, over 1 million people watching concerts throughout the COVID lockdown in Norway. That's incredible, isn't it? And around the world, bands have been doing this around the world to some big extent, to some a lot lesser extent, and it's actually brought us closer together as a music community and organization. And I think that is, if there's anything good can come out of this pandemic, that I think is one of the things that is good.
Yeah, of course, and we have been cooperating with bands all around the world, with one musician playing with a musician in the field band in Washington, and so on, going on with the Navy band in Washington, and so on, and also in Germany, all over the place, and it has been, as you say, it connects people, but there's a distance, and of course you always will. The main task is to play for live for people, of course, for the audience. But well, we have. I think we have managed, in a great way.
Yeah, I think if somebody once said to me that if you give a concert and there's no audience, then it's a very expensive rehearsal.
yeah, a bit too expensive.
Yeah, I think so. Look, finally, Arnstein, how do you see the future of military bands in Norway?
I think I'm always optimistic, and when it comes to governmental plans and so on, I might have a few words with different people in the future, and of course work to assure that the bands will have a bright future. But we have this situation of I mean, Norway is not a poor country. We are doing very well. So there should be money. the fundings nowadays is split between the Department of Defense and the Department of Culture. So it's a bit special, and hopefully we can manage to get some more money through the channels of the Department of Culture in the future. But the band will stay within the armed forces. I don't think that's any doubt about that. But hopefully I will see in 5 or 6 years a little bit better budgeting and a few more musicians coming in. But you never know. It's up to the politics. Yeah.
Okay. Shall we let's end with, I don't know where the time's gone, but let's end with a little bit of music. I think will be good. And I think this is the staff band of the Norwegian Armed Forces. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't even pronounce Arnstein, the title of the music, but it's a really cracking march, and I think it's a good way to end our show today.
Great.
Wasn't that wonderful? I really enjoyed that. What was the piece called, Arnstein?
Oh, it's oh shit.
Just on live TV, we said that.
It's a Swedish march. I don't know it very well, but it's slipped my mind at the moment.
That's okay. Look, Arnstein, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show, and may I take this opportunity to congratulate you on your retirement and wish you and your family well for the future. And can I also say, from myself, thank you. It's been a pleasure knowing you and working with you. And hopefully when I'm next on a cruise ship lecturing around the Norwegian fjords, if I'm anywhere near, hopefully we can meet up and have one of those lovely ice cold beers. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Arnstein Lund.
Thank you.
This is Graham Jones broadcasting live on channel KT4. Join me next time. And until then, stay alert and stay safe.